For over 200 years, more than 20 airplanes, 50 ships, and hundreds of people have mysteriously vanished in a small part of the Atlantic Ocean. One of the strangest events occurred in 1945, when 5 advanced military aircraft from the U.S. Navy Flight 19 completely disappeared in mid-air. There were no warning signals, no traces were found, and no one could explain why. On December 5th, 1945, it seemed like just another ordinary day at the Fort Lauderdale Air Base in Florida. 5 Navy aircraft, part of the Flight 19 squadron, took off for a routine training mission. The pilots, led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, were all experienced veterans. They had flown over many different areas, faced challenging situations, and were certain today's flight would be like any other. At 3:45 p.m., about an hour and a half into the flight, Lieutenant Taylor began transmitting a message to the control tower at Fort Lauderdale. His voice sounded confused, and what he said shocked the entire base.
"I can't determine my position. I think we're lost."
These words from Taylor marked the first sign that something was wrong. The control tower at Fort Lauderdale quickly responded, asking Taylor to confirm his position. But instead of a clear answer, all they received was a long silence. After a while, Taylor called back, saying they couldn't determine which way was west, and everything around them seemed very strange. The truth is, Taylor and the pilots of Flight 19 were in the middle of a vast ocean. Not only had they lost their bearings, but they also couldn't rely on their navigation instruments. And why was that? The real reason they were so disoriented they couldn't pinpoint their location was a very common issue in the Bermuda Triangle: problems with their compass. So, in that situation, Lieutenant Taylor decided to change course and head west to find Florida. But instead of turning back toward the nearby coastline, Flight 19 flew much farther, heading out to sea toward the Atlantic Ocean. With each passing minute, things grew more difficult. They no longer had enough fuel to turn back and find their way home. At this point, the control tower began to realize that they might be far from their original position, and the situation was becoming even more critical. Realizing that Flight 19 couldn't make it back, 2 rescue planes were sent out to search for the squadron. But what was surprising was that just minutes after the 2 rescue planes took off, they also lost contact with the control tower. Once again, silence took over. No signs of Flight 19 or the rescue planes were found, and after a long search, nothing was discovered. So the question is, why did this happen? How can we explain it? Some believe the disappearance of Flight 19 could have been due to a technical malfunction, such as issues with the compass. However, scientists have proposed other strange theories, such as the magnetic fields in the Bermuda Triangle affecting navigation instruments. We need to understand that in the Bermuda Triangle, Earth's magnetic field doesn't behave the same way as it does in other areas. Some scientists believe that this region contains an exceptionally strong magnetic field, which could affect compasses and navigation instruments. This magnetic field could cause a distortion in determining direction, making pilots think they're flying in one direction when, in reality, it's completely different. This could be the main reason why Flight 19, despite being highly experienced, couldn't return on course and ultimately flew much farther than intended. However, is this magnetic field really powerful enough to disrupt our instruments? Or is there some other factor influencing the strange events in the Bermuda Triangle? In fact, over 1,000 disappearances have been recorded in this area, and scientists are uncovering more and more important clues. With recent studies on the magnetic fields and environmental factors in the Bermuda Triangle, we may be on the verge of discovering the reason behind all these mysteries. Recently, a theory has caught the attention of many scientists and experts in the field of ocean research. It suggests that methane gas, a gas that can accumulate beneath the ocean floor, could be behind some of the mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. You might be wondering, why methane? How could it make everything disappear without leaving a trace? Let's take a look at recent scientific studies to understand it better. A 2016 study by Yale University found that methane released from the ocean floor can reduce the performance of aircraft engines, especially when flying through areas with significant methane blowouts. When released suddenly, the methane quickly escapes from the sediment layers beneath the sea, creating a phenomenon known as a methane blowout. This can significantly reduce the buoyancy of ships, causing them to lose their ability to stay afloat and quickly sink to the ocean floor. Is there any actual evidence to suggest that methane could cause such incidents? One prominent example is the disappearance of the Star Tiger aircraft in 1948. Recent researchers have pointed out that the area where the plane vanished had unique geological characteristics, with a high potential for methane release from the ocean floor. Throughout the flight, the pilot repeatedly reported engine malfunctions, which could be signs of interference from methane gas. You've probably heard about the massive storms and extreme weather conditions in the Bermuda Triangle. But did you know that this area actually has a long history of powerful storms, particularly tropical storms and hurricanes, that can completely change the situation and create major issues for flights and ships? Bermuda is strategically located along the path of storms coming from the Atlantic Ocean. These storms often form from clouds and hot air off the west coast of Africa, moving across the western Atlantic. When they reach the warm waters of the Caribbean, they can intensify and become incredibly powerful. As these storms enter the area, they not only generate massive waves, but can also alter ocean currents, creating highly complex atmospheric conditions. This can cause significant disruption for ships and aircraft, completely altering their trajectories and making it easy for them to lose their bearings. Particularly dangerous for vehicles that cannot prepare in advance or don't have the modern navigation systems we have today. One of the notable incidents we can mention is the disappearance of the DC-3 aircraft in 1948. When this plane vanished in the Bermuda Triangle, the surrounding weather conditions were extremely harsh, with strong winds and heavy storms. The pilots attempted to contact air traffic control, but were unable to continue their flight due to the strong winds and disorientation. Meteorological researchers believe that a key factor contributing to the disappearance of the DC-3 was the presence of turbulent wind currents, created by the unique combination of weather elements in the Bermuda Triangle. Rapid changes in air pressure may have caused the plane to lose control, leading to the crash. The exact number of planes that have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle is hard to determine, but it's believed that between 50 to 100 planes have vanished in this area over the past century. Many of these disappearances are based on anecdotes, but it seems that most of them were caused by navigational errors, especially in the early days when GPS wasn't as advanced as it is today. The severe storms and hurricanes that frequently pass through this region have also played a role. As we've seen, the Bermuda Triangle holds more mysteries than we can even imagine. Theories and discoveries keep emerging, and we're just scratching the surface. Be sure to stay tuned for more exciting videos as we continue to explore the unknown. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next adventure.